Hebrews. This is our non-Messianic conversations. This is our Monday night class, the 5th of April, 2021. I'm advising that you like, share, subscribe, and also hit the notification button. We're going to do our moment of silence, for all that the Lord of hosts is doing for us, and gathering us and making a way for us to leave here. And then we're going to go into our prayer and do a song for the current event. O Lord, I pray unto the Lord my God. We make our confessions, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping covenant and mercy to them that love thee and to them that keep thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of face as it is this day, to the men of Judah, to the habits of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven us, because of our trespass, and we have trespassed against thee. As it is written in the laws of Moses, all his evil is come upon us in the land of our captivity, here in Americas, Caribbean, Great Britain, and Africa. O Lord, according to all thy righteousness, I beseech thee, that thine anger and thy fury be turned away from thy city, Jerusalem, and thy people, and thy holy mountain. O Lord, hear this prayer, and cause thy face to shine upon thy sanctuary and thy people for your sake. O Lord, open thine eyes and incline thine ears to hear and behold our condition. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken and do. Defer not for thine own sake, O my Lord, for thy people need you and your land need you desperately at this hour. Peace be on you. Okay.
Hallelujah.
I'll read the Psalms quick.
Shalom, everybody.
Let's talk with you.
Not much.
Okay. I'm going to read Psalm 40. It says, praise for an answered prayer. It says, Psalm of David. I waited patiently for the Lord, and he inclined unto me, and heard my cry. He brought me up also out of the horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock, and established my goings. And he hath put a new song in my mouth, even praise unto our God. Many shall see it and fear, and shall trust in the Lord. Blessed is that man that maketh the Lord his trust, and respecteth not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies. Many, O Lord, my God, are the wonderful works which thou hast done, and thy thoughts which are to usward. They cannot be reckoned up in order unto thee. If I would declare and speak of them, they are more than I can number. Sacrifice and offerings thou doest not desire. My ears have thine open. Burnt offerings and sin offerings as thou not required. Then said I, Lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me. I delight to do thy will, O my God. Yea, the law is within my heart. I have preached righteousness in the great congregation. Lo, I have not refrained my lips. O Lord, thou knowest, I have not hid thy righteousness within my heart. I have declared thy faithfulness and thy salvation. I have not counseled thy loving kindness and thy truth from the great congregation. Withhold not thou thy tender mercies from me, O Lord. Let the loving kindness and thy truth continuously preserve me. For innumerable evils have compassed me about. My iniquity have taken hold upon me, so that I am not able to look up. They are more than the hair, the hairs of my head, therefore my heart faileth me. Be pleased, O Lord, to deliver me. O Lord, make haste to help me. Let them be ashamed and confounded together that seek after my soul to destroy it. Let them be driven backwards and put to shame that wish me evil. Let them be desolate for the reward of their shame that that say unto me, Ah, aha. Let all those that seek thee rejoice and be glad in thee. Let such as love thy salvation say continuously, the Lord be magnified. But I am poor and needy, yet the Lord thinketh upon me. Thou art my help and my delivery. Make no tarrying, O my God. That was Psalms 40. It's a prayer for answered prayers by David. Yeah, I just wanted to point out something here right quick. It's pertaining to, I was telling you how they got us brainwashed, telling us that these Psalms, David is one, the focus is David in these Psalms, but they didn't brainwash us and got us thinking that it's pointing toward Jesus Christ. But we know better. I want to read a couple of verses and shine a light on some things that, they taught us coming up in the church. It says, they say if I think it was Paul said if he would if you tried to mention all the things that Jesus done, all the miracles, we don't have time to do it. But he got it from right here. It says, many, O Lord, are thy wonderful works which thou hast done, and thy thoughts which are to us that cannot be reckoned up in order unto thee. If thou would declare to speak of them, they are more than it can be numbered. They got this. This is what they got. They took this right here and laid it on JC. So then it says, sacrifice and offerings thou did not desire. My ears hast thou opened, but offerings and sin offerings hast thou not required. Then said I. This I is David, right? So he says, David said, then said I, lo, I come. They tell you Jesus came in the volume of the book. But David telling you right here, then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me. I delight to do thy will, O my God. Yea, the law is within my heart. See, they took this right here and they put all these concepts on JC. But David just told you right here, he come in the volume of the book. But JC wants to say, when we get to the New Testament, now all of a sudden, JC, Jesus Christ, come in the volume of the book. Okay. Okay, anybody got anything pertaining to that? Oh, they're good. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to play this right here. This was it's back to those we was talking about those songbirds. These right here, these women right here is on got life. They on death row. And they trying to find a way to get a second chance. You got some kind of law, but anyway, we're gonna play this here and talk about it. Tie your shoes up.
Life in Pennsylvania means just that. Life without the possibility of parole. For us lifers, as we call ourselves, our only chance for release is through commutation, which has only been granted to 2 women since 1989, close to 30 years ago. Our song, This Is Not Our Home, it tells of our experiences while doing life without the possibility of parole. I'm a woman, I'm a grandmother, I'm a daughter, I have a son. I'm not an angel, I'm not the devil. I came to jail when I was so young. I spend my time here in
inside these prison walls, lost friends to death, some go home. Watch years pass, people come and go, while I do life without parole. I am a prisoner for the wrong I've done. I'm doing time here. This is not my home. Dream of freedom, hope for mercy. Will I see my family or die alone? As the years go by, I hold back my tears. 'Cause if I cry, I'd give into fear. I must be strong, have to hold on. Gotta get through another year. I am a prisoner for the wrong I've done. I'm doing time here. This is not my home. Dream of freedom, hope for mercy. Will I see my family or die alone? I'm not saying that I'm not guilty. I'm not saying that I shouldn't pay. All I'm asking is for forgiveness. Gotta have hope I'll be free someday. Oh, is there a place for love in the world out there? Will they ever know a care? Change. Lord knows I've changed. I am a prisoner. I'm doing time here. This is not my for mercy.
Okay. So what you think?
Interesting.
That's it.
Yeah. And,
Okay.
I think that when they're speaking, whoever the people are that's speaking on behalf of the diaspora in reference to reparations, they need to make sure that it's known that our, many of our ancestors have gone to jail when there
Right.
wasn't no crime committed. So far
Right.
as I'm concerned, them people's debts have already been paid. Them
Right.
black females, their debt has already been paid. Now,
Okay.
yeah, it just escapes me how come, they're not recognized or it anyway. that they're not recognizing that we've been done wrong, and there's never going to be any reckoning, no equal anything, no justice for us in this land. This is the land of our punishment. That's it.
Right.
That's all. Don't look for nothing. Just if you get anything here, you get it from the Most High. You get it from the Lord
Right.
of Hosts, because this place
Right.
was not built, wasn't created, and it wasn't jacked until we got here.
Right. Exactly.
So
Right. Yeah. So with that being said, this next video is pertaining to that, because as we speak, things are, when you're paying attention to what's going on, things being worked out. Play this video right here. Okay.
Mr. President, Excellencies, we take note of the UN reform efforts as championed by the Secretary General and reiterate the crucial role of one UN in ensuring efficient and effective delivery for the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. However, we are concerned with the status of the UN Security Council reforms. Malawi, therefore, reiterates the call for urgency in advancing these reforms with full representation of Africa, in line with the Zuluini consensus of the African Union.
Okay.
For the avoidance of doubt, we call...
Can you see the screen?
I see the screen just fine.
Okay.
Call for 2 permanent seats with veto power and 5 non-permanent seats for Africa. The current composition of the Security Council does not reflect the world in which we live. On the 75th anniversary of the UN, we repeat our call for greater representation of African countries on the Security Council, and that this be taken up with urgency at the intergovernmental negotiations. It is only through a reformed and inclusive UN Security Council that we will be able to collectively resolve some of the world's most protracted conflicts.
Hello, explorers. Thanks for joining us again, and welcome back to another informative video on our YouTube channel. On today's episode, we are looking at the growing call from the African continent with regards to the permanent membership of the United Nations. We shall also look at those leaders who are calling on that it's about time for the African continent to have some representation into the Security Council. For those of you who don't know, the United Nations is an intergovernmental organization that aims to maintain international peace and security. It was developed friendly relations and also amongst nations to achieve international cooperations and be a center for harmonizing the actions of nations. Looking at the current United Nations, there is a growing call that it's about time for the continent, the African continent we are talking about here, to be given a greater role at the United Nations. When you look back to when the United Nations was formed around 25 years ago, only about 4 African countries were part of the organization. Today, all 54 African countries are amongst the 193 member states of which formed the United Nations, which also would include countries like Russia, the United States of America, China, the United Kingdom, and France, which all are permanent members of the Security Council. There is also looking at the United Nations highest decision body, which is Security Council. With regards to the 75th session of the United Nations, there is a growing call from African leaders who basically addressed the United Nations, calling out, focusing more on demanding that Africa be represented into the United Nations Security Council. There is no reason why the continent haven't been given some kind of a participatory role within, which has moved online based on the current pandemic situation. The continent is echoing the reason why they feel that it's about time, having been for just over 75 years now, that the continent was supposed to be considering itself being a member. In this way, most of the leaders feel that by Africa being part of the international body, especially in the Security Council, it will give the continent leaders to present Africans' problems, African challenges from an African perspective. And that will be, in their words, that it will enable the smooth transition and solving the problems within the African continent. We will see also on how these leaders, that the president of South Africa, the president of Malawi, and the Nigerian president are echoing this particular representation that Africa as a continent should have members or be a member in the Security Council. Let's listen to the last part of their conversation on this aspect.
South Africa is currently serving its second year as an elected non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. We've used our tenure to promote international peace and security by advocating for the peaceful settlement of disputes and inclusive dialogue.
We need a UN that fully meets Africa's needs in peace processes, which can only be achieved if Africa is involved in making such decisions. In view of the incessant conflicts that are currently tearing down the African continent and retarding its progress, the reforms are long overdue. Mr. President, Excellencies, global challenges and opportunities are reminders that we all are interconnected. The COVID-19 pandemic and climate change, among others, are such colossal challenges that require global unity and solutions.
As the founders of the UN stood at the crossroads in 1945, so do we, 75 years later. They answered history's call to craft a new order for a world in crisis. Today, we battle the fires of a deadly pandemic, of racism and prejudice, of violence, war, and extremism, and above all, of poverty and inequality. The order we seek to build must be rooted in solidarity, equality, and unity of purpose. The coronavirus pandemic has presented us with a choice. It is a choice between the global cooperation envisaged in the UN Charter or the pursuit of narrow self-interest and unilateralism.
The commemoration of the 75th anniversary of the UN is itself an opportunity to celebrate our collective achievements and the charter on which our unity is found. We must work together as one global family. We must collectively do all we can to
to save lives and ease the economic and social devastation. Crucially, we need to draw the appropriate lessons from the global vulnerabilities and inequalities exposed by the virus and mobilize sustainable investments in education, health systems, social protection, and resilience. However, multilateralism is not only a matter of confronting shared threats, it is also about seizing common opportunities. We must seize this moment and emerge stronger, better, and more inclusive. The virtues of multilateralism must not just be preached, they must be practiced. This calls for participation of all stakeholders in shaping the future, especially the youth, who are the majority in our nations.
It is a choice between tolerance or prejudice. It is also a choice between economic justice or growing inequality. The path we choose now will determine our collective destiny. Though we face the most daunting of prospects, we have at our disposal the most potent force. It is the solidarity and friendship upon which the United Nations was founded. When history faithfully records the global response to the worst health emergency of this century, let it be said that we stood and acted as one, that we provided leadership, and that we gave the peoples of all nations hope and courage. Okay. Any comments? Any comments?
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so this is something that happened recently, right?
Yeah, just happened.
Okay, so clarification then, are they adding more countries to the United Nations? African countries?
But what they're saying is 54 of them, and they being under they nobody having a debt with their needs. Africa steady of Africa poor. They're not concerned with what's going on in Africa, but they have 54 members that's representing Africa. So, but the thing is that they all standing up now.
Oh, okay.
They all speaking out. But we know that's part of prophecy, though.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, is it something?
Yeah, and I was just remember I told you, what was that, not yesterday, but the day before, I said that the project that I want to do, I probably have to take it to the UN.
Right.
Bring up all the atrocities that's been committed.
Right.
Against that continent. And then
right.
That's interesting.
Right. Yeah, well, a lot of people don't know it, but they already made that statement about the West reprimanding Africa for all that they done. They did that about, I think, around 2012.
Oh, okay.
And the way that works is when the UN gives they gave America a mandate saying that after all that they've done pertaining to America and Britain, pertaining to the transatlantic slave trade. But the thing about it is the UN, when they give you a mandate like that, they come with the financial part of it too. They give you the financial resources to whatever they tell you to do. They give you the financial resources to do it. So that was like I said, that was in 2012 when they made that statement to America and Great Britain. Yeah. So evidently behind the scenes they're working it out, but they can't try to figure out how to do it without You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's part of this 2019 thing that, and they built, I think they built like 4 or 5 museums. It's all coming from what the UN told them back in 2012. Yeah. So I'm gonna play this right here. Then we're gonna go into the class. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna pick up with Isaiah. I'm gonna read chapters 3, 4, and 5. But I'm gonna play this right here. I was reading Isaiah the last Wednesday, and I was talking about the groves and all that, because like I said, a lot of people reading over a lot of this stuff. But let me show you this, because they now with the people that's awakened, they know that those people that's over in Israel right now is not the real Israelites. But it's not only them. It's they got all these people that proclaiming to be part of the Jewry, but they're not. And I'm gonna talk about that right here. So let's see Ethiopians. Keep in mind what Most High was talking about this. I was telling you about this grove worship. Here we go.
An Ethiopian Orthodox teaching a church to be a church should be enveloped by a forest.
So they say
it should resemble the Garden of Eden.
They say that Ethiopia, the Ethiopian Jews, they went and airlifted a bunch of them back in these Khazarians that's over there now, airlifted a bunch of like 11,000 of those Ethiopian Jews back to Israel, saying that they part of the Jewry, right? So it's the Ethiopian church. See that? It's a grove. All the trees I told you about.
100 years ago, the highland was one big continuous forest. That big continuous forest has been eaten up by agriculture. It is a church who has protected this forest and who has safeguarded them from destruction. It's only because of the patronage and the blessing of the church these forests have survived. Church forests are always in my childhood memory. I used to go with my family for Sunday Mass, for holidays. We have been always told that God gives mercy when you pray here. So the spiritual connectivity is so strong. The more I study them, the more I understand them, the more I see their problem, their importance, their significance, and then I end up being hooked with this forest,
Yeah, so I wanted to show you that, but let me go back here. And so he said, what you talking about? So let me go back here to 2 Kings right quick. Second Kings, chapter 17. Yeah, chapter 17. I'm in chapter 17, verse 24. So I don't know if some people on here probably familiar with it, but the king of Assyria came. It's right before Nebuchadnezzar came. The king of Assyria came and took the 10 tribes into captivity. And so this what he done right here. Came, and in verse 24 it says, the king of 2 Kings 17, verse 24. King of Assyria brought men. Well, let me go up. Let me start at 20. Said the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them and delivered them into the hands of spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent Israel, it's the 10 tribes. Israel is the 10 tribes from the house of David. So let me break that down. You got 12 tribes: Judah, Benjamin, Levi. The king came out of Judah. So David, house of David is among the Judeans, and the Levites and Benjamin is tied to them. And so he got a covenant with David. So he said, he telling right here that 21, for he rent Israel, that's the 10 tribe, from the house of David. King is from out of David's lineage, and he's in Judah. So he ripped them away. So the southern kingdom is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and the northern kingdom is the 10 tribes, the other 10 boys. So during the time of Solomon, right after Solomon died, he separated them. There's two different. You got a king ruling in Israel, and you got a king ruling in Judea. So he says in 21, for he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, king of Jeroboam, king of, let me see, he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, king. And Jeroboam drove Israel from following the Lord and made them sin, a great sin. For the children of Israel, the 10 tribes, walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did, and they departed not from them until the Lord removed, see this? The Lord removed Israel, the 10 tribes, out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants, the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria until this day. So when the king of Assyria did that, he took the 10 tribes out, but the land, the vineyards, everything's still intact. Wasn't nothing burnt down. Everything was intact. So what he did was, and we're going to pick it up in 2 Kings 17, 24. The king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, from Kerthoff, and from Ava. That word Ava, when you go do the research on it, that's Ethiopians, right? So he says, so he brought Ethiopians there. They're not Israelites, but right here he brought them there and live in the land. This is what Samaria is. So he brought people from Babylon, from Kerthoff, from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Seraphim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria. See, that's how you get the word Samaria. That's why Samaria is so wicked. These ain't Israelites. See, instead of the children of Israel, and they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. So here go my point. So I just showed you them. This guy was showing you how these Ethiopians got a grove. They got a church, but they got a grove with the church inside the grove. So it says 25. And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there, when he brought these people that are Gentiles there, that they feared not the Lord, right? Therefore the Lord sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nation which thou hast removed, that's Israel, the Israelites, and placed in the cities of Samaria, know not the manner of the God of the land. I mean, these are the heathens. It says, know not the manner of the God of the land. So let's break that down. El. You know not the manner of the angel that's there. The El. See, but they got God there. That's how they hoodwink so many people. So he says, they know not the manner of the El, the angel of the land. Therefore he hath sent lions among them, and behold, they slew them, because they know not the manner of the God of the El of the land. Then 27. Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom he brought from thence. So he said, bring one of the real Israelites there that know the Lord of hosts, and let him teach them. Let him go there and dwell, and let him teach them the manner of the El of the land. Then 28. Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelled in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear the Lord. This is where they get they understanding of the Jewish culture right here. When he went and got these Levites and brought them back there and taught them. And from that day to the day, they proclaiming to be Israelites, but they was proselytized. They was taught by Levites. They not DNA connected to Israel. They connected to it by culture. They learned the culture. So 29 says, however, this is my point right here. However, albeit every nation made gods of their own. See that? Albeit the Levites taught them about how to live there, but it says then then 29, howbeit every nation made gods, Els of their own, and put them in the houses of their high places, which is Samaria. That's the high place, the churches, which the Sumerians had made every nation in their cities wherein they dwell. And the men of Babylon made, see that? That's a god right here. And the men of Kut made, that's another god, Nigar. And the men of Hamath made Ash, all these gods. And Ava and the Avites made Nebahaj and Tardak, I can't say his name. And the Seraphites burnt their children in the fire. See that? That's what they do when they go in the high places. They burning their children in the fire to these angels up on these mountains. To Amalek and Amalek, Anamek, and the gods of Seraphim. So they fear. Look at this. So they feared the Lord, right? Because the Levites told them how to fear the Lord. They started out, they didn't know how to deal with him. But the Levites showed them. So they feared the Lord and made unto themselves the lowest of the priests, lowest of them priests of the high places in which they sacrificed them in the houses of their high places. Now here they go. Here they go. And this is what we're doing today, out of ignorance. They feared the Lord and served their own gods after the manner of the nations who they carried away from thence. So they know the Israelite culture, but they still dealing with their gods. And how they dealt with their God. They met with them in groves and made high places, went up in the high places and sacrificed their children to them. So that's what he was talking about the other day when I read it. So when I saw that video, I thought I'd share that with you. Anybody got any comments? Everybody good? Okay. So I'm gonna open it up right now for some Q&A before I go into the lesson. Anybody got any questions from reading and studying or something they heard that didn't understand?
Yes. I believe we talked about this before in Daniel 3:25, where it says there's 4 in the lion's den. There or something of that nature. Let me go to it. But yeah, I just want to get clarity. So the older books say that's one that looked like the angel of God or something of that nature.
You said Daniel 3:25?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he says, oh yeah, this is about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yeah, remember some book you read, it said somebody looked like the angel, but they must have changed it in the Bible and said it looked like the son. Remember?
Right. Yeah, it says the 25, Daniel 3:25 says, he answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like unto the Son of God.
Yeah. And wait a minute, I got a note here. But anyway, it was one of them older books that it called it the angel. It looked like the angel of God or something of that. Anyway, it made reference to an angel.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about Enoch.
Oh, is that where it's okay.
Right.
And then there's another Exodus, is it? Anyway, I gotta find it. I wrote it in my notes. I wanted to mention it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll find it.
Okay. Anybody else?
Who is Behemoth? Behemoth.
Well, when you go back and when you do the research, that's a good thing about where we at this generation right here, because we at the end, we looking at everything. So you said you got Behemoth and you got Leviathan, right?
Right.
You know who Leviathan is?
It's a serpent dragon.
Well, so now in this present day, and it's a mysterious monster in the ocean that nobody can find, the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you got a mysterious monster on the land. Nobody can seem to find Bigfoot.
Okay.
That's why I'm looking at it. Because so it's one, he tells you in the book of Enoch, it's one on the land and it's one in the sea. And so my conclusion of that is that these supernatural beings, that's why they can't, they can go in and out. They're interdimensional beings. You know what I'm saying? They can just take it.
Elves?
Huh?
Are they elves?
I can't say they elves. All I know, all I can see, I can figure is they have to be supernatural beings to be as evasive as they are. They have to be going into other dimensions. Because I was watching this one show a couple of years ago about this guy was tracking. They had been seeing this Bigfoot, so they call it Sasquatch. He had been trying to case it, but he had pretty much had narrowed it down by or pointing out all the spots locations he was at. So he pretty much stayed in that area. And then one time he saw him, he got in behind him, he went off to some thick bushes, and then dude went in there, and all of a sudden he ain't seen him no more. But he can smell him. He can smell him, he can tell he was just there, but he just vanished. So like I say, all I can figure is when I read that in the Enoch, I said that's the only thing makes sense to me. We know now it's a mammal that they can't find on that's look like a man, somewhat like a man, and they can't never catch him. And then they got this thing in the sea, the Loch Ness monster. They have the spottings and all that and sightings, but they never can corner them or catch them. So I figure that's what he's referring to. Yeah. Any comment? I think somebody got to mute their phone. Right. Okay. I'm in. Nobody have no questions. I'm gonna go to Isaiah chapter 3. Start reading. Okay. We read chapter 1 and 2 Wednesday. So chapter 3 Isaiah says, "For behold, the Lord of hosts, will take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water, the mighty men and men of war, the judge and the prophet and the prudent and the ancient and the captain of 50 and the honorable men and the counselor and the cunning artificers and the eloquent orators. And I will give children to be their princes, and babes shall rule over them, and the people shall be oppressed, every one by another, and every one by his neighbor. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient, and the base against the honorable. When a man shall take hold of his brother, take hold of his brother of the house of his father, saying, Thou hast clothing, but be thou our ruler, and let this ruin be under thy hand. In that day shall he swear, saying, I will not be a healer, nor in my house. It says, I will not be a healer, for in my house is neither bread nor clothing. Make me not a ruler of the people. But Jerusalem is ruined, and Judah is fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against the Lord, to provoke the eyes of his glory. The show of their countenance does witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom. They hide it not, Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. Say ye to the righteous, that it shall be well with him, for they shall eat the fruit of their doings. Woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hands shall be given him. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they that lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy path. The Lord standeth up to plead, and standeth to judge the people. The Lord will enter into judgment with the ancient of his people, and the princes thereof. For ye have eaten up the vineyard, the spoil of the poor is in your houses. What mean ye that ye beat my people to pieces and grind the faces of the poor, said the Lord God of hosts. Verse 16, moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks, and wu-tang eyes, and walking and mincing as they go, and make a tinkling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of their head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. In that day the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their coils, and their round tires like the moon, the chains, and the bracelets, and the mufflers, and the bonnets, and the ornaments of the legs, and the headbands, and the tablets, and the earrings, the rings and the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, the mantles of the wimples, and the crisping pins, the glasses, and the fine linen, and the hoods, and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell, there shall be stench, and instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of a well-set hair, baldness, and instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. The men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in war, and her gates shall laminate and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. Okay, so like I say, when you read this in context, Isaiah came on the scene before they went into Babylon, and also during the time when the 10 tribes was over in Assyria. So this he's not, like I said before, Isaiah ain't talking to us. It's parts, little parts in there that the Lord would be prophesying in the future, but the main storyline is that he's talking to our forefathers at the time, right before Nebuchadnezzar showed up, and during the time when the Syrians had taken the 10 southern tribes away. So the thing about it is, though, when you read it, you can see that it's a direct effect on us, because what we read right here is we have the same characteristics. Us as so-called African Americans or Negroes, the men and the women, we still in that same state. I'm gonna give you some examples. I'm in chapter 3, and I'm starting at verse 1 again. It says, "For behold, the Lord of hosts doeth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, and the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water." Right? Then 2, the mighty men, the men of war, the judge, that's the king, and the prophet, and the prudent, and the ancient, the captain of 50, the honorable, and the counselors, and the cunning artificers, and the eloquent orators. I will give children to be their princes, and babes shall be rulers over them. The reason why he's saying this, because he's going to kill all the adults. There ain't going to be none but children left. So he says in 4, I will 5, and the people shall be oppressed, everyone by his. Here we go right here. So we look at our state now. We have them back on black crime, all this stuff, and a lot of it is associated with Deuteronomy 28, but it also associated with our forefathers, because that's what they ended up becoming. That's why we ended up over here. But I'm gonna start reading right here, and you can apply this to our characteristics today. So it says 5, and the people shall be oppressed, everyone by another. So it's against each other, and everyone by his neighbor. See that? If the child, and now look at this, the child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient. That's the oldest, the elders, child ain't trying to listen to the elders, right? See, and the based against the honorable. So the people that's, you know, that have some kind of authority and some kind of knowledge and understanding from the Most High, they ain't trying to hit him. So it says 6, when a man shall take hold of his brother of the house of his father, saying, thou hast clothing, but thou art our ruler, let this ruin be under thy hand. So he putting vexing his own brother. So he says, in that day shall he swear, saying, I will not be a healer, for in my house is neither bread nor clothing. Make me not a ruler of the people. So like you say, you got the kings, the princes, the Levites, and all them. They saying that, you know, because I'm bad off, and you know, but I'm a Levite, I'm supposed to be helping the people. I ain't finna help them. I ain't finna help them, you know, get right. I'm gonna just stay over here and do my thing and let them do what they gonna do over there. So 8 says, for Jerusalem is ruined and Judah is fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against the Lord, to provoke the eyes of his glory. So what are you talking about? Well, I broke this down over and over again. The Most High formed 7 angels in the beginning. That's the eyes of the Lord. So we saying these people, they in such a fallen state to the point where they didn't provoke these angels to where he got to bring judgment on. So let's look at it. So he says 9, the show of their countenance do a witness against them. Same right now. Let me read that again. The show of their countenance do witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom. They hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. So when he's talking about rewarding evil to yourself, doing wicked stuff, and there's repercussions to it, because you sow wickedness, you're gonna get wickedness. If you sow righteousness, you're gonna get righteousness. So he said they rewarding evil upon their own self by being wicked as hell. So he said, say ye to the righteous that it shall be well with him. Like I said, righteousness, you sow righteousness, you're gonna get righteousness. For they shall eat the fruit of their own doings. Woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hand shall be given him. So whatever he's doing, he's gonna be recompensed on his own head. So that was pretty much the men right there. So now we're gonna pick it up in 16 with the women. And he says, moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion, these Israelite women, are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks, Wu-Tang eyes, the head up in air, thinking that God gives to the world, walking and mincing as they go and making tingling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the heads of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. So I'm gonna tell you something about that when I finish reading this, and you know, it humbled me when the Lord showed me that. But it says 18, in that day the Lord will take away the bravery of thy tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their coils and their round tires like the moon, the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, because they had it all, just like the men. We had it all. He says the bonnets, the ornaments, the legs, the headbands, and the tablets, and the earrings, the rings, and the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles, and the whimpers, and the crisping pins, the glasses, and the fine linen, and the hoods, and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell, there shall be stench, and instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of a well-set hair, baldness, and instead of a stomach girdle, of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. The men shall fall by the sword. So they walking and doing all this with their, you know, the head stuck up in the air, because the Most High got all these. Let me go back and show it to you. You go back to chapter 3, verse 2. Says the mighty men, the men of war, the judge, all these are dominant, strong men. It's like men. So they had nothing. They had everything they wanted, and they had all these men around them. So look what he's gonna do to them. 25 says, the men shall fall. So he brought these Assyrians there and killed all of them. The men shall fall by the sword and thy mighty men. I just showed you that in war. Then 26, and her gates. Once that's happened, that's it. And her gates shall laminate and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. So all of a sudden, now understanding the hand of the Lord had brought that security. He had brought those mighty men and had all those Israelite men all around them, and they were secure. And then they got beside themselves, and the Most High brought those Syrians in there and killed off the mighty men, killed off their security. But the point I want to make, what I was telling you about, was, it says in 17, Isaiah 3 and 17, therefore the Lord will smite thee, talking to the women of Zion, therefore the Lord will smite thee with the crown of thy head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover thy secret parts. So secret parts is a private parts down here, right? So what he said is he's gonna strip them buck naked, right? So let's look at it, and you can go look at them for yourself. So you see all the stuff they had. They tell you in 19, the chains, the bracelets, the mufflers, the bonnets, and the ornaments, and the legs, and the headbands, all that, right? They had all this stuff that they had it going on. Well, when we find out that half of Africa is Israelites, half of them, the 10 tribes are in Africa, and that's where we was at for over 1,500 years. We was in there for over 1,500 years. Then they came and got us from there. But when they came and got us, what they do? He stripped them buck naked. Even now, when you go over there and they riding, these people come in there with the UN or whatever they call it, UNICEF coming there. The kids, the boys and the little girls running behind the Jeep, but they buck naked. That's what he's talking about right here. But we don't understand what it is he's doing. So the point I'm making is that when the Most High Lord always tell you something, you better do something about it, because he's gonna do exactly what he said. So I'm gonna read it again. Isaiah 3 and 17. Therefore the Lord will smite with the scab the crown of thy head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret part. And that's exactly what he did. When they bought us over here, put us up on the auction block, what they do? Stripped them buck naked. Sold them buck naked.
Right.
Come on. We just ain't know what was going on, because we don't know who we are, and then we don't know, like the brother said on the song, but sick and tired, we in the mud. Especially when we came over here, we ain't had no idea where we came from. We didn't know our past. We just read all the stuff they had, the women had, and men had. By the time we got over here and on the slave ship, we was buck naked. We ain't had nothing. Ain't that something? Okay. Any comments? That was Isaiah chapter 3.
I have a question.
What you got?
In verse 12, where it says, children are their oppressors and women rule over them. What is that saying? Is that just saying the failure of the male leadership there?
No, he killed all the males. Go
okay.
Yeah, so ain't no women and children left.
Okay, got you.
So another example of that, where people don't really register with people. When Moses sent the 12 spies to spy out the land, they came back with a report. 2 of them came back with a good report. 10 of them had a negative report, right?
Mm-hmm.
This on the back end of everything that happened from the time he came. Like I was saying before, they didn't know Joseph had told them the Lord coming. That's all they knew, he was coming. They didn't know how he was. And they looking at the Pharaoh and how we know how powerful Egypt was. They didn't see how they was gonna come out of there. But the Lord came, took Pharaoh and drowned him in the ocean and his army. So that was the start of it. That was enough right there to worship the Lord for the next 25,000 years right there. But all the other acts he did in front of their face, all the way till they get to the land. Then they get to the land, these 12 spies go spy the land out, but they come back and say they ain't gonna be able to conquer the land after all they've seen the Lord do.
Mm-hmm.
So he took them. That's why they went in the wilderness for 40 years. They wandered around in the wilderness for 40 years. He killed all the older elders off.
Mm-hmm.
So if he killed all the elders off, who went into the land? Children. 20 years and younger. 20 years and younger. Kids went into the land.
You said 20 years and younger?
Yeah.
Okay.
He killed off all the elders. Only two elders was left was the two that gave a good report, Joshua and Caleb. He wanted them around in the wilderness, and he killed off that wicked generation. So he killed off all the elders. So children came. That's why he said the children. People think he's talking about something else, but he's talking about the children went into the land.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, let me get over here on chapter 4. It says, in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel, only let us be called by thy name and take away our reproach. So this is an example I'm telling you about Isaiah ain't talking to us. So what I just showed you, that he telling them, I'm gonna bring some people here, they're gonna kill off all your mighty men, right? And all the elders, right?
Right.
So now look at verse 4. Keeping the storyline. Chapter 4, verse 1. And in that day, what day? When they kill off all the men. Said, and in that day, 7 women gonna take a hold of one man, because men gonna be wrapped. He didn't kill off half. He didn't kill off all of them. See that? But they assume they're talking about in the future. But he says, and in that day, 7 women. In the day when he do this right here, what we just read in chapter 3. In that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we would eat our own bread and wear our own apparel, only let us be called by thy name to take away the reproach. So what's the reproach? The Most High showed up. He a judge. Look, go back. Chapter 3, verse 1 says, for behold, the Lord of hosts, doeth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, and the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water. So he judged me. He overseen. The Lord of hosts overseen. So he comes and brings judgment. He's judging the scene. And what he doing, all these wicked folks.
Right, right. And for the few surviving men that are going to be left.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
They would walk around with their necks in the air because there were men everywhere, and they had all kind of money and gold and everything, kicking gold around, everything. They didn't respect the fact that who had brought that all about. They went to using all these blessings that he gave them to worship other gods with. So he came and took away the strength, and that was the men.
Right.
Okay. So verse 2 says, in that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. So let's read that. Verse 2 says, in that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful. What's the branch of the Lord?
The remnant.
Okay, let's go somewhere else right quick. Look at this. Zechariah. Zechariah chapter 3. Starting at verse 7. Let me know when you get it.
Okay.
It says, we know it's 2 anointed ones in Israel. We got the king and the high priest. And both of them are anointed. That's what Messiah means. So verse 7 says, thus says the Lord of hosts. This is Michael. If thou will walk in my ways, he's talking to the high priest. If thou will walk into my ways, and if thou will keep my charge, then thou shalt also judge my house, and shall also keep my courts. and I will give thee places to walk among these that stand by. That's the 7. Hear now, O Joshua, the high priest, is what I just told you. Thou and thy fellows that sit before thee, they are men wonder there. For behold, I will bring forth my servant, the branch. Who is the branch?
David's lineage.
Right. The king out of David's lineage. That's Zerubbabel. Y'all, we got a covenant. We can always have a seed out of David's seed, out of David's lineage that's going to be on the throne. That's what the king is. Right? Right?
Yes.
So I'm back in Isaiah chapter 4, verse 2. So he judged them in chapter 3. Now he tells you in verse 2, in that day, the branch of the Lord, in that day, the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. So who the branch is?
Whoever that seed is.
Right.
At that time.
And he over those that escaped of Israel. The remnant is the ones that escaped, but it's a branch. He always got a branch of David that's over them.
Okay, right.
Right. So how is that gonna happen again? Like in Persia, like is he just gonna wake up like Zerubbabel?
Say it again.
Okay, how's that gonna work over here? Is it like, remember how Zerubbabel was woke up to him being a branch?
No. See, that's what I was saying. So you go to chapter 11. This how they was able to get over. This how they able to pull off what they did up until this point. But the Most High, he raising up, he raised the spirit of men, showing them this stuff. So I'm in chapter 11 of Isaiah. You got it? You got it?
Yeah.
It says I got the King James Study Bible. It says, the title says, "The Righteous Reign of the Branch of Jesse." So my question is, who is Jesse?
David's father.
Who?
David's father.
So if it's a branch out of Jesse, it ain't but one person, right?
Right.
So he sent Samuel to Jesse's house. He said, "Go to Jesse's house and I found me a king, which is I found my Messiah. Go to Jesse's house and anoint him." Who he anointed? David, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it ain't but one righteous reign. It says the righteous reign of the branch of Jesse. David already did in Isaiah, ain't he?
Yep.
Okay,
yes.
so let's read it. Let's read it now. "And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse." So we already telling you, he's gonna resurrect David right there. David dead. Ain't but one person come out of Jesse. It can't be Solomon and it can't be Jehoshaphat, none of them. They out of David. David out of Jesse.
Okay, so now so David is the branch?
No. He gonna in the latter days, he gonna bring David back.
Bring David back. Okay.
Right.
But after David died, he got a covenant with him that until he bring David back, he always gonna have a branch out of his loins,
right?
On his throne. The kingdom belonged to David.
Right. So the branch is a group of people. It's a remnant.
No, they ruling in succession. The umbilical cord. It's always a son out of David's lineage on the throne. So I'm gonna read this. It says, "There shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, a branch shall grow out of his roots, and the Spirit of God shall rest upon him." What is a spirit?
It's an angel.
So the Spirit of God shall rest upon him. That's 1. The Spirit of wisdom, 2. Spirit of understanding, 3. The Spirit of counsel, 4. And might, 5. The Spirit of knowledge, 6. Then the fear of the Lord. There go the 7 angels right there. They with David. So 3. "And shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord, and he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears, but with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins. Faithfulness." You say, who is this, right? It says, righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reign. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together. And a little child shall lead them, and the cow and the bear shall feed. Their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like an ox. And the suckling child shall play on the hole of an asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice den, and the snake den. 9, they shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. Now here go your answer. And in that day, there shall be a root out of Jesse. There ain't but one person. See that? In that day, there shall be a root out of Jesse. He ain't make no mistake. Which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. So my question to you is, right here, is how the Gentiles started reigning here? Right here.
How the Gentiles started what?
Raining.
Raining.
Time of the Gentiles.
Yeah, it's going on right now. We're at the end.
No. During the time of chapter 11 of Isaiah. Was the Gentiles in root? Huh?
Isaiah? No, because they haven't been taken into captivity yet.
Right. So he's telling you in the future he's gonna resurrect David after the time of the Gentiles up.
Okay, so in Jeremiah chapter 33, verse 15, it says, in those days at the time will I cause the branch of righteousness to grow up onto David, and he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. So this branch that's being brought up onto David.
No, so, when you understand what he's saying, is the soul is his body and the soul the same?
Yeah.
No. So the soul separate. I just read. Let's go to go to 40. Psalm 40. Psalm 40. I just read that this morning. I mean, it's earlier. Psalm 40 is a praise for answered prayers of David, right? So I'm in I'm starting verse 11. I'm starting verse 10. David talking. I have not hid thy righteousness within my heart. David telling the Lord of hosts this. I have declared thy faithfulness and thy salvation. I have not concealed thy loving kindness and thy truth from the great congregation. Withhold not thou thy tender mercies from me, O Lord. Let the loving kindness and thy truth continue to preserve me. Here we go, right here, 12. For innumerable evils have compassed me about. Mine iniquity have taken a hold of me, so that I am not able to look up. They are more than the hairs of my head, these wicked spirits, right? Or these giants that died of my head. Therefore my heart faileth me. Be pleased, O Lord, deliver me, O Lord. Make haste to deliver me, right? Let them be ashamed and confounded together that seek after my soul. See that? Can a man kill your soul?
No.
Right. So David telling you right here, look, he says, let them be ashamed and confounded together that seek after my soul. They ain't seeking after, they ain't worried about his body.
Okay, so soul and spirit's the same thing.
Yeah. So he says he's gonna raise up his branch. The branch is his soul. He's gonna raise it back up into the body. And what are you gonna do in Ezekiel 37? Let's go to Ezekiel 37. Ezekiel 37. Okay. Ezekiel 37 says, I'm gonna read verse 1. You done heard this 1,000 times. I don't know if it's broken down right. It says, the hand of the Lord was upon me and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord, set me down in the midst of a valley which was full of bones, right? So that if it's bones out there, it was a human there one time, flesh was on it. And they died and all that's left the skin and all that, then rotted away. So we go down to 5. Then the Lord host says, thus says the Lord God unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter in you, and ye shall live. And I will lay sinew upon you, bring you up flesh upon you, cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. So what did he just do? He brought the spirit back up into the body. He resurrected the body, and he brought the spirit back up into there, where all these spirits got a history. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Daniel, all of them. You're going to raise David. And then he go down to verse 11. Then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones is the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say our bones are dried, and our hope is lost, and we are cut off from our parts. See, this is where the rabbis and the mega pastors stole off at. So then 12 says, therefore, prophesy and say unto them, thus says the Lord God, behold, O my people, I will open up your graves. What's in the grave? Bones. Dried up bones. And cause you to come up out of your grave. The only way to do that is to put the flesh and the sinew and all that back on the bones. Said, and bring you into the land of Israel, and ye shall know I am the Lord, when I have opened up your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves, and shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. Then shall ye know that I, the Lord, have spoken it and performed it, said the Lord. All right. Then I got one more place to go. Psalm 132. This is a doozy, you know. When I found this out, I was overjoyed. So I'm in Psalm 132. This whole thing is about David. It's telling you this is the best witness you can get to find out who the Messiah is. He says, I'm gonna read the whole thing. The 17th verse. It says, Lord, remember David. See that? He don't say Jesus. Lord, remember David and all his affliction. See, this who was afflicted right here. How he swore unto the Lord and vowed unto the mighty God of Jacob. Surely I will not come into the tabernacle of my house, nor go into my bed. I will not give sleep to mine eyes, or slumber to my eyelids. Okay, slumber into my eyelids, until I find out a place for the Lord, a habitation for the mighty God of Jacob. Lo, we heard it in Ephrata, and we found it in the fields of the woods. We will go into the tabernacle. We will worship at the footstool. Arise, O Lord, into thy rest, thou and the ark of thy strength. Let the priests be clothed with righteousness, and let thy saints shout for joy. For thy servant David's sake, turn not away the face of thy anointed. See, telling you who it is. Anointed means Messiah. So he just said in verse 10, for thy servant David's sake, turn not away the face of thy anointed. Turn not away the face of thy Messiah. 11, the Lord hath sworn, look at this. The Lord hath sworn in truth unto David. He will not turn from it. Of the fruit of his body will I set upon thy throne. That's what I just told you. He got covenant. So the fruit of his body is there's always going to be a son on the throne. We're going to keep going. If thy children, these are all the kings in 1st, 2nd Kings, 1st, 2nd Chronicles. If thy children will keep my covenant and my testimony that I shall teach them, their children shall also sit upon thy throne forevermore. For the Lord hath chosen Zion. He hath desired it for his habitation. This is the rest forever. Here will I dwell, for I have desired it. I will abundantly bless her provisions. I will satisfy her poor with bread. I will also clothe her priest with salvation, and her saints shall shout aloud for joy. Now here we go. There will I make the horn of David. That's the soul. That's his soul. There will I make the horn of David to bud. See that? Now watch this. I have ordained a lamp. That's the soul. For mine anointed. We just found out who anointed was in verse 10. Then 18. His enemies will I clothe with shame, but upon himself shall his crown flourish. So he's telling you, he's going to put David back on his own throne. but they fumbling with it because they over there all in the New Testament. Read it again. There will I make the horn of David the bud. I have ordained a lamp for my anointed. His enemies will I clothe with shame, but upon himself shall his crown flourish. That's going back to Isaiah chapter 11, verse 2.
So, question.
Okay.
When he brings David back, I take it David's not going to be an old man because he's going to have some energy.
Right. He's gonna be like this. So we know the angels of a beautiful countenance, right?
Right.
So I'm in Zechariah. Zechariah chapter 12. I'm starting at verse 7. It says, I'm gonna start at verse 6. In that day will I make the governors. We just talked about this. This the fruit out of David loin, the kings. In that day will I make the kings of Judah. They did, all of them did right here in Zechariah. In that day will I make the kings of Judah like a heath of fire among the wood, like a torch of fire in a sheaf, and they shall devour the people. Keep in mind what happened to Moses at Mount Sinai. When he went to Mount Sinai, an angel appeared on a bush as a flame of fire. So right here, he's going to resurrect these men, right? In that day will I make the governors, kings of Judah, like a heath of fire. They like him, right? Among the wood, and like a torch of fire in the sheaf. They shall devour all the people round about. On the right hand, on the left, Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. The Lord also shall say the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David, that's the kings in first and second Kings, and the glory of the house of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah, right? Here go the answer right here. In that day shall the Lord defend the houses of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David. And the house of David, that's the kings that's already dead, shall be as God, as the angel of the Lord before them. So they took on his countenance. And that's the same way when you understand he's gonna resurrect David. So let me read this right quick. I'm over here in the Apocrypha.
Do they stay like that?
Huh?
Do they stay like that?
Yeah, that's the promise he gave them. This is the promise he gave them long before they concocted the New Testament.
Oh, wow. Hold on. So the whole time they stay like that?
Huh?
I never realized. I kept on thinking that was temporary or something, like get powered up for temporary. I can't believe that's the whole time.
Right. So what you witnessing is they like a caterpillar. When they came the first time, it was like caterpillars. They went and entered into their rest. When he resurrects them, they're gonna be like the angels. So you gotta ask yourself, what's the deal? Didn't the Most High lose a third of his angels before he even came to the earth?
Right.
Okay. He had to replenish him.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So let's look at this. Okay, let me get this right quick. This right here, big. It's gonna be okay. Okay, so we talk about David. So this is in 2nd Ezra. So it says, and I answered them and said, remember with the Revelation, Jesus coming back with his double-edged sword, riding on a white horse, all that garbage. So now it says, right here, it says, Ezra says, and it came about after 7 days that in the night, this Ezra talking to us, says, and it came about after 7 days that in the night I dreamed a dream, and behold, the winds arose from the sea, so that it stirred up all the waves. And I looked, and behold, the wind brought out of the heart of the sea something like the figure of a man, and this man flew with the clouds of heaven and wherever he turned his face to look, everything that was seen by him trembled. And whenever the voice went from his mouth, all who heard his voice melted as wax melts when they feel the fire. And after that I looked, and behold, an innumerable multitude of men was gathered together from the four winds of the heavens. That's what he told Ezekiel to do. Talk to the wind, huh? And breathe upon these slain. So here we go right here. He says, and after that I looked, and behold, an innumerable multitude of men gathered together from the four winds of heaven to make war upon the men who had come up out of the man that came up out of the sea. And I looked, and behold, he carved himself out of a great mountain, flew upon it, but I saw as it were the region or the place from which the mountain had been carved, and I could not. And after that I looked, and behold, all who gathered themselves against him to fight with him, this David, were much afraid, but dared to fight. And behold, when he saw the onslaught of the multitude that approached, he did not raise his hand or hold a sword or any weapon of war, but I saw only how he sent out of his mouth. See, they put all this on JC. What looked like a flood of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and from his tongue he sent forth a storm of sparks. These were all mixed together, the flood of fire, the flaming breath, the mighty storm, and it fell upon the onslaught of the multitude. This the multitude in Ezekiel 38. Okay, it says a multitude which was ready to fight and burn them all up, so that suddenly there was nothing to be seen of the countless multitude but the dust of the ashes and the smell of smoke. And when I saw it, I was amazed. Afterwards, I saw this man come down from the mountain, called to him another multitude that was peaceable. Then many people came to him, some joyful, some sorrowful, some in feathers, some bringing offerings. So now let's tie this together. Let's look here. I'm back what I just read in Isaiah chapter 11. Isaiah chapter 11 says, verse 10, in that day, I just read over here, in that day when the man come up out the sea, in that day there shall be a root out of Jesse, David, which shall stand for an ensign to the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek. That's Gentiles in Ezekiel 38. And to it the Gentiles shall seek, and his rest shall be glorious.
David himself is going to be the ensign?
Yeah, David's going to be the ensign. But that ain't nothing new, because look at this. I'm in Haggai. This happened before. So I'm in Haggai. Right quick. Chapter 2. Chapter 2, verse 20. This is when they came out of Babylon. It says, and again, the word of the Lord came under Haggai in the 4th and 20th day of the month, saying, speak to Zerubbabel, governor, king of Judah, right? This is out of David lineage, saying, I will shake the heavens and the earth. I will overthrow the kingdoms, and I will destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the heathen, and I will overthrow their chariots and those that ride in them, and the horses and the riders shall come down, every one by the sword of his brother. Now here we go. 23. In that day, it's already happened, says the Lord of hosts, I will take thee, O Zerubbabel, my servant, son of Shealtiel, said the Lord, and I will make thee a signet. So he ain't nothing new under the sun. See that? For I have chosen thee, said the Lord of hosts. So just like they went into captivity in Babylon after 70 years, he raised Zerubbabel up out of David lineage. He raised him up as he was a signet.
Right, that's what had me confused earlier, because this was an actual seed of David versus David. So now, okay, now I don't really got to worry about a seed of David at all. It's all
David himself.
It was a Zerubbabel this time, though, But
right,
okay,
Right. So look at this, Isaiah chapter 66. So like I was saying before, Adam didn't have no childhood, right?
No.
Did Adam have a childhood?
No.
Right. So he made him a man child. He never was a child. He formed him a grown man, a man child. So I'm in chapter 66. This is the future future deliverance, future hope for Zion, for Israel. He says, thus saith the Lord, the heavens is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that ye have built unto me? And where is the place of my rest? For all these things have my hands made, all these things have been, saith the Lord. But to this man will I look, even to him that is poor and of a contrite spirit and trembles at my word. He that killeth an ox is as he has slew a man. He that sacrificeth a lamb as if he cut off a dog's neck. He that offers oblations as if he offered swine's blood. He shall burn of incense as if he blessed an idol. Yea, they have chosen their own ways, and their soul delighteth in their own abominations. I also will choose their delusions and bring their fears upon them, because I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear, but they did evil before mine eyes, and chose that which is I delighted not. Then here we go right here. Hear the word of the Lord, ye that tremble at his word. Your brethren that hated you cast you out for my name's sake, and said, let the Lord be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy. So this when he come back. That's what we've been dealing with. He says, but when ye appear, ye shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. Here we go. 6. A voice, this is the Michael calling to the temple. A voice of the Lord, the voice of noise from the temple. A voice of noise from the city. A voice from the temple. A voice of the Lord that renders recompense to his enemies. So how you gonna render the recompense? David. So 7. Before she travailed, that's the woman. Before she travailed, she brought forth. Before her pains came, she was delivered of a man child. There go your man child. David already been lived before. So he's gonna resurrect David, a whole grown man child. Same way he did Adam. So you say who the woman is that's having these birth pains. Verse 8. Who have heard such a thing? Who have seen such a thing? Shall the earth? There go the woman. We just read, he just told us he gonna raise, when I raise you up out of your graves. The graves is in the earth. So he says, shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion, there go the woman, travaileth, she brought forth. But before she did all this, she was delivered of a man child in verse 7. That's David, the signet, in Isaiah chapter 10, 11 and 10. Okay. Is that making any sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think I did Isaiah. That was 3 and 4. Anybody got any questions? We're gonna leave it right there. Yeah, like I was saying before, we have you want to come in through get the link, you want to link up with the so you can get the link, you can come into the channel. You have to you can call 337 802-0889, and then I can give you the link, hook you up with somebody that's gonna give you the link, send it to the link to you every day, where you can come in through the other way. And then we have like I was saying, I was playing songs. I play some songs like a quarter till before I go into the show, because I'm trying to get a little, get the mood right, the song, praise and worship. So if you want to come in quarter 15 minutes earlier, I'll be playing some praise and worship songs, Israelite music. Okay. Anybody got anything they want to talk about? We got a few minutes. Everybody good? Everybody good?
Yep.
Yes,
Good.
sir. Good.
Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna leave it right there. Now, like I said, I'm trying to get back to dealing with the book, and going to the scriptures, because people would think that you concocted your own story, but I want to stay in the book. So You know, when I say something, I want to go to the book and show it to you. So with that being said, let me do this. Okay. I'll see y'all Wednesday for Bible study.
Shalom.
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 Right. Shalom.